Dillian the Body Snatcher White here. It's a champ. Big up to Sporting Icon. Subscribe. Otherwise, I might pay you guys a visit.
Remember all the stories now about Anthony Joshua getting dropped in sparring, knocked out in sparring, and everything was very funny, and a lot of Wilder fans would use that to say that he's chinny, and of course our Parker team has been using that as well. But Anthony Joshua has of course come out and said that he pretty much put up the likes of Joe Joyce and Coley and Dubois and that to say these things, to not only give them a little bit of profile, but to add a bit of a story, if you like. And it wasn't so long ago as well that it was put out by Johnny Nelson that he knows fine well that Deontay Wilder got knocked out by Vladimir Klitschko in sparring as well. And Dillian Whyte has seen this with his own eyes. Now, he didn't say Vladimir Klitschko, nothing like that. And he's also been talking about a potential fight with Deontay Wilder and, of course, the fight with Luis Ortiz, which is tomorrow, right? And this is what Dillian Whyte says. A fight with Deontay Wilder depends on Deontay Wilder, whether or not he wants it. We've offered him a lot of money before and he's just completely ignored the fight. He's trying to chase Joshua because he doesn't want to take any chances unless it's for mega bucks. But we'll see. The main thing is win this fight against Brown, and I've got so much options. We'll go after a world title, rematches, or we'll just keep fighting. Everything depends on winning the Brown fight. As far as Wilder versus Ortiz goes, it's a really good fight. But there's two problems for Luis Ortiz. At the top level, he's been inactive for the past 2 or 3 years. Wilder's been very active. He might not have fought the top guys, but they've still been decent guys with decent records. The second problem is Ortiz has got to be about 1,000 years old. When you look at it, he has very good skills and very good punching power, but I just think his inactivity is going to be his downfall. He stands a very good chance because Deontay Wilder can't take a punch. Technically, Luis Ortiz seems to be a bit more together and a bit closer and sharper than Deontay Wilder. But the man Wilder does have that equaliser, so of course, we'll see. And I've seen him hurt in sparring. I actually seen Wilder spar, seen him get knocked out in sparring. But I don't really like telling sparring stories. I saw him get dropped in sparring also. But sparring is sparring. Marvin Hagler used to get dropped in sparring a lot. Mike Tyson got dropped in sparring. In sparring, you're working on things, trying things. You hear stories about people getting knocked out in sparring, but when it actually comes to the fight, it's a whole different story. You've got 18-ounce gloves on, then you've got 10-ounce gloves on. You're psyched up. In sparring, it makes no difference. That's Dillian Whyte's statement. So ultimately, of course, he would love a fight with Wilder. He's been chasing it for quite a long time, and he offered, between him and Matchroom Eddie Hearn, offered Deontay Wilder the opportunity to come to the UK and make a big name for yourself in order to set up an Anthony Joshua fight. That was a very, very quick route, if you like, to Joshua, which is what Deontay Wilder keeps talking about, right? And so he offered him $4.5 million US plus all the US TV money. But Wilder said no, he doesn't want any of Joshua's leftovers, all that kind of thing. But of course now he's going to be fighting Luis Ortiz, which of course is a very dangerous fight, right? For a far lot less money. So you could give him credit for that one in some ways. But of course I look at it as that he's actually scared of Dillian Whyte. But either way, let's go back to this sparring story. So again, as I said before, Johnny Nelson, he broke it that Deontay Wilder, he knows for a fact, has been dropped and knocked out by Vladimir Klitschko. Now, Dillian Whyte, he didn't say where it was that he's seen it, but of course, we do know that Dillian Whyte has been in camp with Vladimir Klitschko on a couple of occasions. So this could be it, with the fact that he's saying that he's seen him dropped and he's seen him knocked out. It coincides with what Johnny Nelson says with Vladimir Klitschko, right? But also, we know that Dillian Whyte, in his early days as well, he used to spar with David Haye. And David Haye also sparred with Deontay Wilder. A lot of us have seen little snippets of that, if you like, on the build-up to David Haye versus Tyson Fury, which of course never happened. And this was around about the time that I think Wilder, he fought Audie Harrison, which was the very first time I've seen him. So it could be that David Haye actually knocked out Deontay Wilder. Could be. As I said, he didn't say. But it would certainly be interesting to know who it was who knocked out Wilder. But of course, Wilder's going to deny it, Wilder's fans are going to deny it, and those who may just accept it will say, well, it doesn't really matter, it's only sparring. And you're absolutely correct. Now, of course, the Wilder fans are going to come here, click the thumbs down, leave a little bomb squad, and then run away. That's pretty much what they do, right? But remember now, Dillian Whyte wants this fight with Wilder. Wilder's been running from him for a long time. Doesn't matter how you look at it. He has been running away from Dillian Whyte. He knows that he can't take the kind of body shots that Dillian Whyte gives out. But ultimately, everything was going to be dependent on Saturday, right? As to what's going to happen with Wilder and Ortiz. First time Wilder stepped up in 40 fights in 10 years nearly. So let's see how he gets on. Is he the real deal or is he not? Is Luis Ortiz past his prime now? Is his sell-by date gone? All these questions will be found out. And then, of course, in 3 weeks' time, we have Dillian Whyte versus Lucas Browne, which, of course, is for the silver title, which, in theory, should make him mandatory. But officially, it's not mandatory yet. They usually make that kind of decision a few days before the fight. So, with the next couple of weeks, who knows? Maybe the WBC may make Dillian Whyte the mandatory. In which case, if he beats Lucas Browne and he's officially the mandatory, and we know the WBC will be calling their mandatory for the summer, and Deontay Wilder will have to face his mandatory in the summer, unless, of course, he goes for a unification. And if he did that, then obviously that would be against Joshua or Parker, but more likely it'd be Joshua in the sense of if Parker wins, there'll be a rematch, so that wouldn't happen anyway. But if Joshua was to win, then, of course, they could do undisputed. But bear in mind, Eddie Hearn, he promotes not only Joshua, but Dillian Whyte also. Would he really want to pass up the opportunity to have Dillian Whyte put in there first in a situation where Deontay Wilder cannot refuse the fight, and then hopefully Dillian Whyte beats Wilder or Ortiz, you never know, and then undisputed between his two fighters, Dillian Whyte and Anthony Joshua, on British soil? Epic fight. It's a rematch everybody wants, and it's for all the belts. Massive money for both. Very, very interesting for UK fans, and of course Eddie Hearn gets paid double bubble, so excellent stuff. So anyway, drop your thoughts below. Sensible comments, of course, where I know a lot of people say, well, you know what, we've seen Dillian Whyte actually get knocked out for real. Yes, you have. But of course, he got knocked out by a unified world champion, or he is now at least anyway, and Dillian Whyte actually stepped up. Deontay Wilder's yet to do that, so the first time that Deontay Wilder steps up, is he going to get knocked out? Or will he come through with flying colours? You never know. But of course, Dillian Whyte has been saying for a long time now that Deontay Wilder doesn't like being hit on the whiskers, in his own words. So I always presumed it's because he's seen the footage of Wilder as an amateur and getting knocked out. Or, of course, against Molina and a couple of other fighters who'd rocked him. Obviously, against Harold Sconiers in his 13th fight as well. He got dropped as well there. Not knocked out, but put on the floor. He did get up and win the fight, of course. And that's what I presumed it was. But obviously now, Dillian Whyte has actually seen with his own eyes Deontay Wilder get dropped and also knocked out. Drop your thoughts below. Click that thumbs up. Subscribe. Big shout out to the A-Side boxing community. Hitman Boxing, Kiwi Box. More channels to be announced very, very soon. Catch you on the next video.